Here's something Holden got very right and something they didn't. And we start with the good. The introduction of the LS1 in the Series 2 VT. This was genius. It was a nice, fresh, modern alloy V8. Much more powerful, much more fuel efficient, but more important than any of those, it was a fantastic business decision. Because this motor was so big in the States, we could bring them over here. We could continue having V8 Commodores without the enormous development costs that they would have had to use to develop the Holden 5-litre. And back in the day, these were extremely popular. People were very, very excited to get their hands on one of these. Now, what did Holden do badly, you may ask? Well, that's pretty simple, and it is not this JE Chimera. For that, we're going to have to talk about the VL Commodore and the RB30. Now, there is absolutely no denying the RB30 is a fantastic engine. It is reliable. It is so smooth. You can redline it with a 50-cent coin stand up. It is a fantastic engine. And because of that engine, we got some of the most iconic 1980s Holdens flat out with the turbo variants. They are fantastic engines. But Holden didn't choose them because they were fantastic. They chose them because they were running out of time. New emissions rules from 1986 meant that new engines could no longer run on leaded petrol. And that meant that even the humble 202 needed a ton of money and time to be spent on it to bring it up to scratch. So Holden turned to Nissan and ordered the RB30 for their nice new VL Commodore. Now I hear you asking, well, what was the problem? And here it is. They didn't build it. They did not control the costs. And by the time a lot of these RB30s had been delivered, the Aussie dollar had moved really hard against the yen. So to keep these cars economically viable, Holden had to cut costs in other areas. Cheaper paint, cheaper plastics, that kind of thing. And so while the RB30 did save the VL Commodore in the short term, in the long term, it actually hurt Holden. Despite it being a fantastically popular model, they didn't really do that well financially out of it.